what's up, Ravens fans? Welcome into a Week 3 edition of Ravens Unscripted. The Ravens are now 2-0 and have a huge matchup on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot to sort through, and to help us do so, we've got Ryan Mink back on the couch. Hey, Pete Gilbert's here, WBAL TV and radio. He called me Tom once, and he thought it was my name. And Cliff's here as well. Guys, we'll start, as we always do, with 4 downs. All right, first down, we'll start with the win over the Cardinals. And Ryan, you're sitting in that seat, so you get to start first.
All right.
You like to learn. I know that. You're a learned gentleman. What'd you learn from the win?
I learned that the Ravens can hang and win close games. You know, every game isn't going to be like Miami. Certainly. They're going to be in a lot of close games this year.
I think some people were almost disappointed because it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was a lot more fun in Miami, I'll tell you that much. But the Ravens played in a close game, this young team, and they got to win when it mattered most. Defense, 2 3-and-outs at the end of the game. Lamar Jackson to Marquise Brown for 41 yards and a clutch throw and catch. To win a game like that, you know, when your backs are up against the wall, the momentum was turning against you, the upset was kind of looming. To get that done and get that win, I think it taught me something.
I think that we saw how John Harbaugh says, I'm going to remain very aggressive, and I'm going to put my faith in my second-year quarterback. And it would have been natural maybe to run the ball in that 3rd and 11. They're out of timeouts, run the clock. You got a punter who you know is going to put him inside the 10. He said, no, go ahead, make a play. That's different. And then for them to Lamar and Hollywood to then say reward that faith, that's huge going forward.
Yeah, I learned once again that Marquise Brown does not need to practice on Fridays to be a star on Sunday. I mean, he really is Hollywood. You turn on the lights on Sunday, he becomes Denzel. I mean, he definitely is doing something. I think really it's impressive when you consider wide receivers a lot of times their rookie year have trouble. He hasn't practiced that much, yet he's been an impact player right away. All the talk was, well, he's missed so much practice time, it's going to set him back. No, this guy is the dynamic player.
Denzel reference out of the gate. We are rolling here. So down number 2, Pete, Lamar Jackson. Let's sort through where he stands in terms of hype. You've got MVP conversation out of the gate here because of the numbers, but then you have to factor in the opponent. Where do you come down on Lamar's start to this season?
I mean, I would want to wait till, say, I don't know, week 8 or 9 before I'm thinking about an MVP. I think 2 weeks in, I don't know how much stock he can put in for a whole season, but what we saw was he can win a game and play a game like he did in week 1 where he ran 3 times for 6 yards. And then the next week can run for 120 yards, able to recognize and see what is there to be taken and then take full advantage of that. That's dynamic. And that if you're a defensive coordinator, you think, oh, God, what are we going to do here? How do we prepare for that? He presents tremendous challenges.
I think all the MVP talk is fun. You know, I mean, I get it. No, we're not going to actually vote on this in week 2. But why not? I mean, why can't Lamar Jackson win MVP? Patrick Mahomes did it in his second year, and he came out of nowhere. He didn't play at all his rookie season, kind of played in
week 17.
Yeah, week 17, nothing game. But came out of nowhere and won it in his first year. Why can't Lamar in his first year as the Ravens starter from week 1, why can't he do it?
He can. I just would wait till beyond September.
Yeah, but I mean, think about what this team would be without Lamar Jackson in it right now. This offense wouldn't be like this at all. So you talk about the value that he presents to the Ravens, for sure MVP.
All right, 3rd down. Value is Mark Andrews' middle name right now because a lot of this that Lamar's been able to do has been on the back of Mark Andrews' cliff. Is he putting himself now, and we talked about this before the show, in that conversation of one of the better tight ends in this league? You've got Travis Kelce, who we'll see on Sunday, George Kittle in San Francisco, Zach Ertz in Philly, but Mark Andrews, he looks like he belongs in that group.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, much like Lamar, you're talking about a guy in his second year who is improving rapidly. And it's not just Mark's physical tools that are making him so effective. His mental game is excellent for a tight end. He can read defenses so well, alters routes in the middle of them, finds the weak spots, and Lamar's on the same page with him. So Mark now has become a guy, in my opinion, that opponents are going to have to game plan for. And that's going to be another adjustment for Mark, but he has the ability, I believe, that even though he's going to be a guy that teams want to take away, he's going to continue to produce.
I mean, the first Ravens tight end with back-to-back 100-yard games. I mean, to be consistently
Had some
that
good
kind
tight
of
ends
play.
here.
There have been some very good ones, and he catches everything that comes to him. His hands are
And it's
sublime.
been all, I mean, you guys were at every day of training camp and preseason,
Oh, yeah.
but
This is not surprising
This
at
This
all.
isn't like
surprising.
Marquise.
Exactly.
This isn't like Marquise. He's been doing it all summer long. To me, it reminds me a lot of Joe Flacco and Dennis Pitta. The connection that they had is very similar to Lamar and Mark.
But Mark will block.
All right.
Hi, Dennis.
Subtle shot.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
4th down, and I want to hit everybody, but be quick about it because we've got a lot to get through with Kansas City Chiefs. But your headline, when you think of matchups, Ryan, and what has your attention here early in the week when you look ahead to what is a behemoth in the Chiefs?
Yeah, for sure. It's how this defense stops Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense. I mean, I know that they don't have Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt moved on in the offseason, but this offense, it doesn't matter who you plug in there, they are still lighting it up. So can the Ravens secondary, who, Kyler Murray had some plays against them and that Cardinals offense, can they contain, especially without Jimmy Smith, all these weapons of the Chiefs? That's going to be the kind of measuring stick for this defense.
I think the flip side, though, will be the Ravens offense keeping that Kansas City offense off the field.
Yeah.
One of the reasons the Ravens almost pulled off the win Kansas City last year is because they held the ball for so long and moved it. And Kansas City's defense, I mean, they have some playmakers, but it's not one of the top defenses in the league. And the way the Ravens are playing offensively gives you the impression that they should be able to do some things to that defense. So that's going to be very key. Mahomes, as great as he is, on the bench, can't score. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe he can, but I haven't seen it yet.
Doesn't look passes, but I don't think he'd do bench passes.
Exactly. That's where you want to
Well,
keep
and
him.
so maybe the one possession drives that we saw in week 1.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know the numbers. Maybe you
don't-
guys have it. The time possession seems to be
Last
quicker.
week it was
Yeah.
Well, last week it was certainly in the favor of the Ravens. Week 1, I mean, they were scoring so quickly it almost didn't matter. You don't maybe want an 83-yard touchdown this week. You want more methodical trips down the field, but because they can be so versatile and do so many things, I think they can do that because as the defense adjusts to them, they're able to adjust back and have ways to attack that they didn't in the past.
I'll take a touchdown no matter how it comes. But the Ravens do need to get their running game with their running backs, not just Lamar. They have to get that going. It was a little bit hit or miss in week 2.
And quickly, Ryan, the fact that they were there last year, and Arrowhead is a unique place to play, especially for a young quarterback, that has to be a value, right?
Oh, for sure. And Lamar has a huge chip on his shoulder from losing that game. It's the only regular season loss he has on his record. And Lamar Jackson hates to lose. This guy remembers losses he took in Pee Wee football. I'm not joking. He still remembers those and says, man, we should have won that game. So how do you think he's feeling going into KC where he took his only regular season loss? And he ended that game on the bench injured with RG3 finishing it and him with a twisted ankle.
Yeah, easily the most intriguing matchup of week 3. Issue or non-issue is coming up next. But before we go, let's take a look at this big play by Mark Andrews via the Sky Cam presented by Longfence.
Off the play fake, Jackson fires down the middle, complete to Andrews at the 40-yard line, slips 2 tacklers, and gets down to the 32 with another Ravens first down.
Welcome back. No issues with 2-0 for the Ravens, but there could be some concerns, so why not play a little issue or non-issue? We'll start with Lamar Jackson as the leading rusher. Look, guys, we knew that he was going to be a big part of the running game, but not much from Ingram, Gus Edwards, or Justice Hill. Pete, you're the guest here. First up, issue or non-issue?
I mean, as far as Lamar, the way he ran a week ago, I was very much in favor of it. Oftentimes, it was a matter of that I'm just going to take it. It weren't designed runs, and then he stepped out of bounds a lot. A couple times, though, there were designed runs inside the tackles. I'm not a fan of that. Do not let you don't need someone crashing down on his knees.
3rd and 20, he got
You don't-
19.
But no, I don't want anyone, when they ran power on the right side, coming and crashing on his knees there. Take that more as you can. Mark Ingram and Justice Hill will be fine. There were some penalties that brought back some plays against them. I don't think the run game's the issue.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the run game with Greg Roman and what we saw in Miami. Greg Roman is going to get that thing humming. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, the beauty of this offense is that they can adjust. I mean, if Lamar needs to run, he can very well. If they need the backs to get, or if you try and take Lamar away, they have the backs to do it and the running scheme. So, no, as long as you're getting the running game from somewhere. I'm not caught up in Lamar has to have this percentage, this guy has to have that percentage. It's going to vary from week to week. The only problem is going to be if someone shuts down their running game, you make them one-dimensional. I think that's very hard to do with the Ravens.
Flip the side of the ball. during training camp heading into this year, a lot of question about where's the pass rush going to come from. They've gotten it. They've designed some. At this point, and especially heading into this Week 3 game, Ryan, issue or non-issue, how they've been able to conceive a pass rush?
I would say it's a little too early to tell. I'm not sure.
That's not an option. It's issue or non-issue.
All right,
I don't know
fine.
how simple I need to make it.
I still think that it's a little bit of an issue.
Well done.
Yeah.
You really got there.
Thank you. You pulled it out of me. So I think that we're going to see in Kansas City whether they can get to Mahomes. I mean, right now, as of now, Wink Martindale is doing a great job of scheming things up. Judon's playing well. They're getting some push up the middle. Pernell McPhee looks like the Pernell McPhee of 5 years ago. So I'm encouraged. I'm not as concerned as I was going into the season, but I'm not saying pass rush is on point, ready to roll. So we'll see, I think.
I think McPhee's arrival, I did not expect a whole lot other than maybe some leadership, and with all the leaders that were gone on that defense, it was great to have him back. Because the player, everyone, that locker room loves him and respects him. But he's making plays as well, and he still has a burst on him, a little more than I anticipated. And so he looks good. So it's better than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's better than I thought it was going to be, too. And unfortunately, in this game, Mahomes, even if you have a pass rush, figures out a way to escape and make some incredible throws. So long term, I think the Ravens pass rush, it hasn't been solved. I'm not going to go that far, but it's been better than I thought it was going to be. And in this game, the key is that just put enough pressure on Mahomes to get him off his spot and hope that when he extends the clock, that the Ravens secondary, which is one of their strengths, can hold up.
All right, I'm going to send a memo after this show. I just need you to say issue or non-issue at some point. Then you can wax poetic and hedge as much as you'd like. So last up here, issue or non-issue, Cliff, the secondary as they face Mahomes and company. And I would be specific enough to say maybe that third corner position.
Yeah, issue. How you like
There you
that?
go. Look at that.
Yeah, because it's an issue anytime you play the Chiefs. And obviously the Ravens with a couple of injuries now. You would love to have Jimmy Smith healthy for this game. He's not. And it's going to be a real challenge. I think that Anthony Averett has done well. I think that obviously Brandon Carr has been one of their most valuable players and will continue to be that way. But it's an issue anytime you play the Chiefs because they're so good at finding whatever they perceive as the best mismatch for them and going to that guy.
And it's also an issue we saw last week were some breakdowns of communication in the secondary that allowed for some big plays that even a rookie quarterback on the road for the first time was able to see them and take advantage of them. We know Mahomes will certainly be able to do that as well. So they need to tighten that up for sure. That was a little bit surprising because we didn't see that through training camp very often, and certainly not in week one, any breakdowns, significant ones of communication.
Yeah, issue. I mean, this passing offense from KC is amazing. Even without Tyreek Hill, it's still really good. I know I said that, you plug in any pieces.
Who's DeMarcus Robinson? Where do you
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. They have this machine in Kansas City where Andy Reid just plucks people, puts them in, and all of a sudden they're putting up 100
Well,
plus
now you have
yards.
Mecole Hardman,
Yep.
who's this blazing fast kid out of Georgia, a rookie. Who's going to match up against him? I know Anthony Averett's really fast, but that's a tough assignment too. So, yeah, this is going to really test the Ravens secondary. I do think that Earl Thomas back there makes a difference. So we'll see how much of a difference.
And quickly, Travis Kelce needs to be factored
Yes.
in here. Is
Oh,
that
absolutely.
something that Earl Thomas manages? I know you guys had some other ideas. Maybe Anthony Levine gets in the action.
Levine, Tony Jefferson, I think it's going to be kind of a by-committee approach with him. It's not going to be a one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, the chess match of this game is going to be fascinating. More Unscripted coming up after the break. Welcome back into Unscripted. We're standing in front of the big monitor wall, so it must mean it's time for Ravens Mailbag. You can send us your questions using the hashtag Ravens Mailbag. First up, let's see what we've got here. From Evan Larson, do you see Chris Moore and Seth Roberts becoming more involved with the offense as the season progresses? Cliff.
Yeah, I would say definitely a little more. I mean, Seth Roberts has one catch. Chris Moore does not have a catch. So do I expect that to take place all season? No. But I definitely believe that Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews, the way they're playing, those guys are going to continue as long as they can produce to be as dominant as they've been. When they're rolling like that, why would you go elsewhere? I mean, this is not unusual. Most teams have a number one, number two receiver, and then role players. Obviously, if someone gets hurt, I think these guys are more capable of stepping up, but you don't want to take the ball out of Marquise's hands or Mark Andrews.
The misconception here, though, is that they're not involved at all. You can't just look at the stats. Seth Roberts has been pretty key as a blocker on the edge. In this kind of offense, that's an important role.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think numbers in this offense are going to become relative at one point. Let's see what we got next.
Oh,
I've always wanted to do that. King Tron, this might be a ghost account for Pete. Would you ever consider trading for Jalen Ramsey? We're seeing a lot of corners upset at this point. And Mink, is this something that you could see this organization actually looking at?
I think they would be interested. Yeah, I mean, they were interested in drafting Jalen Ramsey a few years ago, very interested, and even attempted to trade up ahead of the Cowboys, who drafted Zeke, to get Jalen Ramsey. Didn't end up doing it. But you look down the road, Jimmy Smith is in the last year of his contract. You have Marlon Humphrey. If you had Jalen Ramsey, think about the pairing that you'd have with those two guys, two of the best young corners in the game. The Ravens are going to have more cap space. They're lined up to be among the top 10 teams in terms of cap space next year. So you look at it and you say, for the player that you're going to get, if you're going to spend money, let's spend it on one of the best young cornerbacks in the game. And his attitude, I get that that's obviously a problem in Jacksonville right now. But I look at the Ravens almost like a team like the Patriots, who can take on some of these guys, and they fit into the culture here.
I'd say that would be the biggest challenge, though, because he is definitely a me guy, and there's not a lot of room for that here. Those guys have not fared all that well.
Steve Smith had that reputation. He fit in just right.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Final tweet for one Pete Gilbert. This comes from Kyron Chase. How do you expect our defense, the Ravens, to deal with the Chiefs' offense and Mahomes? Will they blitz more, play man coverage, or play more zone? Your thought?
What I noticed in watching what the Chiefs did a week ago, in particular when in the second quarter when Pat threw for 4 touchdowns and 278 yards, the touchdowns all saw multiple vertical routes. So, I mean, the key was that takes time to do. So they have to find a way to get to him before he can then pick out who's one-on-one that he likes down the 30 and 40 yards down the field. So they're going to have to be more aggressive to not allow him to make those big throws. And so that's where it's a blitz. It's going to be Matt Judon having to be. He's been very effective thus far, himself, just in single rushing the passer. He's going to have a monster game to help prevent that.
Well done, Twitter world. Send us more of your questions using the hashtag #RavensMailbag. Soapbox coming up. Welcome back to Unscripted. No better way to close out the show than with Soapbox. The guys on the couch here are going to get 30 seconds to step in front of the spotlight and give their opinion about something that's really stuck in their craw. No better person to start it than one Ryan Mink. And you have 30 seconds, Ryan. Right. And as you know, that's a starter, and then there's going to be one at the end. So 3, 2, and 1.
This is the game where we're going to see how much Lamar Jackson has grown as a quarterback. And I know you're saying, I saw that in Miami. I saw that in week 2 against Arizona. But he's going back to the place where he took his only regular season loss of his career. And he finished that game, as I said, injured with Robert Griffin on the third. He fumbled at the end of that game, nearly lost it at the end of regulation. This year, a more confident, a driven Lamar Jackson to prove to everybody that I can win in the toughest environment.
4,
he's going
3,
to Kansas City, and he's
2,
going to do much better than he did
1.
last year.
Well done, Mink.
Thank you.
Week 3, it's like playoff version of
It takes
right
coaching.
on cue. We did this a couple weeks ago, Pete, and everybody was blowing right through the bell.
That's right.
So,
Got to hit the stop sign. He played pretty well in Kansas City last year for a rookie.
Yeah.
It was the second road start of his career. Pretty good. I think he's going to be even better this time.
No, I think so. All right. Up next, Cliff Brown. What do you have for us, sir? Making his way. Cliff. 3, 2, and 1.
Well, I'm on the soapbox today that this is the year you should think big. Bigger than just making the playoffs, bigger than just winning the AFC North. The Ravens, if they can win this game in Kansas City, would be 3-0, obviously jump ahead of Kansas City in the standings. And when you look at the AFC picture, why can't the Ravens this year get a bye? Why can't they, if you have to go through Kansas City and New England, have those games at home rather than on the road? So this is everything setting up to me perfectly for the Ravens this year to think big. They're playing well.
3,
this is a
2,
great challenge.
and
Win
1.
this game and think big.
Woo!
I like it. I
Out as
like
well.
it. All
Well
right.
timed and a big statement. Not
Yeah.
to use your word
Literally
there,
take
but you're saying that this game can dictate the long-term future of this team in 2019.
Well, it certainly could. I mean, it's very early in the year and so much is going to happen. But again, the Ravens have big aspirations this year. This is a game, we know Kansas City's probably not going away.
Right.
We know New England, what they do. But the Ravens, I think, this year have the capability with the schedule they have, particularly.
Well, the division,
right?
Ben
The division,
Roethlisberger done for the
exactly.
year.
A lot of things early seem to be going in their favor. And yeah, if you're talking about going to a Super Bowl, which they are, you want to have the easiest path that you can. So winning this game, maybe in December, you look back and say, wow, that was a huge win.
And this is the beginning of a stretch in the schedule. You know, you look beginning of the year, you look, all right, weeks 1 and 2 should get wins, and then not, you know, week 14 and 15, I think they're, you know, you get the Bills and the Jets. You're thinking, okay, that looks all right too. And in between that is a really hearty sandwich.
All right, Pete,
2012.
walk and talk it.
All right.
You're up. That's a
I was
local
talking about
news. That's
Here
a
we go.
local news ability.
We ready?
Go ahead. 3, 2, and 1.
So I think almost everybody in this building goes back to a year ago in that game at Arrowhead, and there was a particular play that really maybe cost them a game, a 4th down conversion, and was really a Hail Mary in which we saw a safety unable to make a play on the ball. That maybe then was the reason Earl Thomas is now a Baltimore Raven. We saw week 1 how well he can react to a ball that hangs in the air too long as he went from the opposite hash to go over
10
and
seconds.
pick Ryan Fitzpatrick. This week, I think it's going to come down to a similar situation, and Earl Thomas is going to play the role of hero
3,
and flip the
2,
script from a year ago
and 1.
and secure that win, not even in overtime.
See, he took a little
like it.
extra. He
That
took
was
a little
impressive.
extra.
That's all right.
So
That's good.
Tony Romo's not doing the game, but you're doing your best impression there. You're predicting the way this game ends.
I
like
thought
it.
we had to have a prediction, so I kind of went that route. But why not? You know, I mean, Earl, I really enjoy getting to know Earl a little bit and talk with him. He is so much about business, and it's a combination of all the homework that he does and then has the physical tools to back it up. He is a lot like Ed Reed.
Yeah, well, this has been a fun show. It should be a fantastic weekend of football. Pete, thanks again for stopping by. And we'll be right back on the couch next week to break it all down.